Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of the newspaper review on TAF TV. My name is Sophie John, your host for today. In case you're just joining us for the first time and you're wondering what we do on the newspaper review, it's a show where we get to look at the news stories making the front page of Nigerian newspaper. And of course, I wouldn't be doing this alone. I'm joined by a very amazing Mr. Victor Siyoko. Mr. Victor, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the show once again.
Thank you for having me today.
I was just thinking a lot has been going on our political scene. Each day we get to hear new things every day. Just this morning we heard that the court has ordered the release of the embattled CBN governor, that's Godwin Emefiele, which is actually a good one if the federal government will obey to that court order.
Definitely, that's the question, if they will obey that court order. But then you also see that the person of Tinubu, yes, he's been showing the president, he's been showing some ruggedity, some stubbornness in some areas, especially, how do I want to go back? I don't really want to go back. But then you find that he's being rugged, and yes, he still makes it look soft that he's not disobeying the laws. Okay, yes, he's the president, but then there are still some areas where you just want him to be as democratic as he can be, but then sometimes he still does his wish.
And we have been seeing this front and back between the government and Emefiele, from the hands of the DSS over to the EFCC, and you're wondering what is really going on here.
Definitely, and you then wonder what then will happen with people like not Shegumi, what's his name,
the EFCC chairman?
No. The Shiite leader that has been in prison. That the former president Muhammad Buhari put in there.
Okay.
Then somebody like Nnamdi Kanu, now ask, will he be able to now say, okay, is Uhuru no more of going against court judgments and orders? I don't see that happening in any time soon. But those other cases that I just mentioned, yes, they are religious, and at the same time, they are so sensitive that might not just be what is bothering me right now. Every Nigerian knows what the 001 right now.
001.
It's about hunger, how to fight hunger in the land.
All right, we head over to our facts newspaper. For today, we'll be looking at the Daily Sun newspaper, and it's leading Ohaneze Afenifere Middle Belt Forum press for state police. Do you think state police is possible?
Yes,
We've been having some agitations towards that.
Yes, it is. If we are, the problem also is about the not just the police, the people. Are you willing to go meet the police and tell the police, look at what is happening in my community? Don't
you think it will give the governors more power? Because you can see governors in total control of the police.
Well, yes, it will give them more power, but on an equilibrium scale, it shouldn't give them more power, because the police is an institution bigger than the governor as a person. The institution of the police is bigger than the governor. So it's unfortunate though that we don't have strong institutions, because if you go back to the US, for instance, you find out that, okay, look at what is happening to Donald Trump.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, some persons might also be that, okay, Joe Biden is the one fighting him. But if you go and check into the main details, you find out that it is the institution that are the ones challenging him, because they felt that you went against the institution. So in Nigeria, if you have a police institution that is very strong, that does not give a damn about what the governor will say or what the governor will do if they abide by the rules of the game. That's it for me.
Right, still on the newspaper, uproar in Senate over appointment of minority leadership. And you can read that up on page 28 of the paper. I actually saw a video of this yesterday of the Senate minority member that was I can't really remember his name. He was actually challenging the Senate president. We'll get to that later. It was actually funny. Nigerian elections, product of manipulation, cancer, destroying democracy. That's according to APC chieftain. And you can read that up on page 27 of the newspaper. Troops kill 7 bandits, arrest 33, recover arms ammunition in Plateau, Kaduna State. And that's on page 5 of the newspaper. Nigerian targets $10 billion revenue through national shipping line annually. And that's on page 24 of the paper. New twist in Plateau. As Speaker, Deputy resigned. There's a lot going on in Plateau State right now.
A lot.
A lot. And we are having that in Kanu. We are seeing the reflection of that in Kanu. And we are seeing it in Kogi too. The summit.
In Zamfara, but it went against the ruling party. Yeah.
That's a good. Should I say that's a good one?
Well,
Should I say
it's
because
quite complicated.
it's quite complicated
Yeah,
because
especially for Plateau State for me, it's quite complicated because of and INEC has a whole lot to say about all this. Okay,
Yes.
at the end of the day, you find out that the political parties and their candidates are the ones that are suffering the most. But then, what happens to INEC? Who is punishing INEC in all this? Like that of Plateau State, they say about 160,000 ballot papers we are not stamped. Okay, and by law they are supposed to be stamped, and that was how these votes were cancelled. So you ask the question: could it also be that yes, people came out and voted, but unfortunately that the ballot papers were not stamped? More so, you could also have that argument that it could also be that the PDP brought in their own ballot papers that were not stamped after the election.
So much complications.
So much complication, my dear.
What's that?
But then you also ask the question, INEC, what were you doing that 160,000 unstamped? 160,000 is a lot of number.
That's quite a number.
So these are the issues we're talking about.
That's a mystery. All right, let's move over to our lead story of today. Uproar in Senate over appointment of minority leadership. And that's on page 28 of the newspaper. Mr. Victor, I'd like your thoughts on this. This is what everybody was talking about yesterday. We keep seeing drama in our Senate. We keep experiencing this drama. It's actually quite interesting.
Well, for a gathering of 100 and how many are they again? 100 and 103. My math is not working well today. So for that gathering of more than 100 persons, you just have to see situations whereby some people will disagree, okay? And yeah, it happened yesterday. So what happened? Abomuru was appointed or elected or announced. Yeah, he was announced as the minority leader of the House of Senate. And some people did not like it, okay? And Abomuru is from the PDP. And who are the persons that did not like it? The people from the Labour Party. Knowing that Labour Party, yes, they are the third minority after the second minority after the PDP, and they have about 7 candidates as it stands. Yes, some are still frightened because of the Court of Appeal has been going all out with these hammers and the removing persons out there. And that was why Abomoro was even brought in, because the former minority leader lost at the appeal court. So that position needed to be replaced. And when the chairman or the president of the House of the Senator, that's Senator Ababio, made that announcement, somebody like Ositangu was not happy. Ositangu is from Enugu State, a senator from Enugu East. So he was not happy, and he told the president of the Senate that the way you were selected is the same way that you were elected. The way you were elected, the same way that I was elected. You were privileged to become the Senate president. Doesn't mean that your decisions, you can just make decisions. But then the Senate president also made it clear that the votes were done, and the 40 persons out of the number of minority leaders we have in the Senate voted for Abamuru, and you were voted in as the minority chief whip. So we also, when you see such incidences, so what are they also saying rather? the Labour Party, it wasn't just about the other members of the Labour Party, other senators from the Labour Party also voiced their grievances that they should also be considered. Okay,
Yes.
they shouldn't be left aside. Yeah, and that they shouldn't just be giving everything to the PDP. But then, at the time, the House was calm, and the Senate president also announced for some changes with the committees. Okay, and the one particular person that also rang a bell was Natasha Akpoti from Kogi State,
Yes.
and she was made committee chair for local content. And I also like the fact that she was made, she was given such an opportunity to serve in that capacity, because she has also shown that she really wants to serve her people.
Yes.
Back in those days, we saw what happened between Yahaya Bello and her during the Guba elections that happened back in the day, how she was suppressed, how even at a time where she was going to vote, imagine you are a candidate during an election and you were stopped from going to cast your vote. What happened? She was making a trip and found out that a part of the road was dogged, as in a big hole was created,
Yes.
so that her vehicle will not pass. So we found out those were just some dirty politics that happened. But then she also has shown how fierce, how dogged she is. Yes, one might also say that she was not able to get into the governor's house, becoming the governor of Kogi State. But then they say if you can aim for the stars, you should first aim for the sun, so that if you don't get to the sun, you might at the end of the day embrace the stars, and that's what has happened to her. So for the house, we hope that they should come to order. We don't want a catastrophic house. We want a house that they can come together as one and move this nation.
All right, then we actually had a speech by Obasanjo. He was addressing some people a few days, and he was talking about democracy in Africa. I don't know whether you saw his speech towards that.
No, I did not.
And he said that democracy most times favors the majority. What about the minority? People don't actually consider what the minority actually wants. And this is what just played out now. What does the minority want? I don't know whether you have this view that democracy is a bit partial.
Oh, sure, but if you notice, democracy is there with that logic that the majority wins the race.
But then in Nigeria and our democracy, where we have different ethnic groups, and some ethnic groups are the minority, they don't have the numbers, they don't have the population, they don't have the places. What they want, does it actually stand?
So that is also where the representatives now comes in.
Okay.
Be you House of Representatives, House of Federal Representative, or the Senate. But yeah, the Senate looks bigger because just in many states, it's just 3 persons per state.
Yes.
But for the House of Representatives, some states get up to 11. So the question now is, what is your representative saying at the floor of the House? Okay, we found out that many of our representatives just go there to make their money, get some level of fame, be visible enough, and at the end of 4 years come back and start battling to go back to that position.
To go back.
Okay, so where you have a situation whereby every representative is speaking for his or her people, every state House of Assembly member is speaking for his or her own, down to the councillor. So if every department or every segment is putting in their work, you find out that Nigeria will be a better place. You find out that when the councillor comes to a particular location and finds out that the government, the state government that have the mandate to do one or two things, or have given a contract for, let's say, for a borehole, and you as a councillor, you cannot even open your mouth to question why this particular borehole has not been installed. That is the issue that we're having. And what does that mean? It means that when these councillors, these local government chairmen, and other members of the government don't speak out, you find out that the governor becomes the empire and anything majority now comes to him.
Yes.
Because he has the power. Same thing is happening in politics of the House. When the Senate president, you don't challenge him. Okay, look at the Labour Party, which they are the minority. Don't challenge him. You always fold in your hands. Reason why they also fold those hands, because of maybe some juicy positions that they have found themselves in, and they want to pack what they want to pack. Secondly, maybe they are looking out for favor from the president of the House, not actually out there to do what they were sent by their people to do. So that is where you see the minority are looking like people that have been flogged by the wind, and
Yes.
can't do anything about the situation of them.
All right, we move over to our next newspaper for the day. We'll be looking at the Guardian newspaper, and it's leading amid heavy docket, electoral cases overwhelm Georgia's justice system. And that's on page 6 of the newspaper. Rivers Assembly crisis persists as factions hold separate sittings. And that's on page 28 of the newspaper. Confusion as appeal court certified judgment opposed Governor Abba Yusuf election. And that's on page 27 of the newspaper. APC warned of democratic cancer as NMPP backs Atiku on merger. And you can read that up on page 6 of the newspaper. Adebajo, Clark, Anya, others tax Tinubu on implementation of 2014 confirmed report, and that's on page 3 of the newspaper, denying Kanu, Zamfara, Plateau voters their mandates unacceptable. That's according to former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, and you can read that up on page 5 of the newspaper. And that's all we'll be taking on the Guardian newspaper. Mr. Victor, I'd like your thoughts on this story. Rivers Assembly crisis persists as faction holds separate sittings.
Yeah, so we were waiting for that day that sitting will occur, and it happened yesterday, being Tuesday, that the sitting actually happened. But at the end of the day, we found out that it was 2 sittings that happened. The factional leaders of the party of the House of Assembly had their different sittings. And but also, one should also note by the numbers, just like we've been talking about majority and majority, by the numbers, you find out that 25 members of the House came to be with the Speaker of the House. I don't want to call him factional Speaker of the House, okay? I'm talking about Martin Amewule. I think Martin Amewule should be considered as the rightful Speaker of the Rivers State of House of Assembly. Reason?
Okay.
Because during that debacle, you found out that just minority, like we always say, the majority carries the vote. The minority came out to vote for Eddie, that's ADC, to become the Speaker of the House. And you ask the question, why would that number, about 8 persons or thereabout, be the people to make choice for a bigger house? Okay? So, but then, that is the dirty part of politics. Whereby, you see somebody doing the wrong thing. You know what you are doing is wrong, but you are looking for every means to prove a point. But deep inside of you, your conscience is telling you. In fact, you've outweighed your conscience does not exist any longer. Why am I saying this? And I'm also saying this with respect to ADA. Now, you were accused, allegedly noted as the person that burnt the house. Okay? Because what happened, the news was that the governor and his team, which is ADA is also part of the team of the governor, went to the chambers, the assembly quarters, to burn it so that no sitting will happen there. Because they already had gotten the information that the governor is to be impeached. But then, the question is, how do we get the person that masterminded that act? It cannot be swept under the carpet. From the side of the governor, you've not heard the governor say that we will find the people that burnt this state house. But from the side of Amewule, they were one of their agenda yesterday was to investigate, okay, give the police the backing to go ahead and investigate the person or persons that masterminded the burning of the assembly ground. But then we did not hear any statement from the governor with respect to that. And that's where I'm having my issues. Okay? Because this is okay. Remember when we were talking about institutions. The House of Assembly is an institution.
Yes.
The police is an institution. So whereby just one person or two persons or even three persons come to destroy what has been kept, the rules that have been kept, are you telling me that there shouldn't be consequences? So please, the commissioner of police has a lot of work to do because he just came. I mean, Tunji just came and he has a lot in his hands.
Yeah, there's a lot on his plate.
Yeah, for me, it's still a cold war, but this cold war, if not handled in the best manner, might just be so catastrophic. Since the incident happened of burning the house or whether the governor is leaving, there is no day on radio that you don't hear one group or a person siding the governor or siding the former governor of the state.
Yes.
So if you notice, it is a cold war. Yes, explosions have not started coming out. You've not been hearing bangers, but then you know that something is brewing, and it is up to the House, one, the current governor, and the former governor to come together and make sure that this does not escalate.
All right, we go on a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll take our last newspaper for the day. So stay tuned.
Children's Studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. We'll take our last newspaper for the day. We'll look at the leadership newspaper and its leading service chief passing the buck over rise and insecurity. And that's on page 4 of the newspaper. Wike orders review of land swap policy. And you can read that up on page 15 of the newspaper. We are open for alliance with PDP, LP, APC. That's according to NMPP. FG targets $10 billion local chip charter market. And that's on page 20 of the paper. E-payment platform collapse hampers filling of cases in Lagos court. And you can read that up on page 14 of the newspaper. Appeal court fames Fintiri as Adamawa governor. Page 6. Musawa unveils creative economic plans, assures 10% GDP contribution. And that's on page 22 of the newspaper. And that's all we'll be taking on the leadership. Mr. Victor, I would like your thoughts on the story on page 7. We are open for alliance with PDP, LP, APC. That's according to NMPP.
Okay, already it's been building up, and my predictions are before the next election in 2027. You have bigger alliances. Persons will come together to make sure that they defeat the APC.
Do you think this is a welcome development?
Personally, it's a welcome development. It's a welcome development because I also am a supporter of partnerships.
Okay.
But then, unfortunately, most of these parties, you cannot even say that they have their ideologies. Okay, so for them to mix up, you find out that it's still the same, just for them to have some seats. Not like they are coming with a particular ideology, so that one can identify them with that particular ideology. But then you ask, if they succeed, some Nigerians, especially for people in the Labour Party, might not like the idea. So it should be like, oh, they are still the same persons out there. Because if you check The APC, the PDP, the NNPP, even the Labour Party, P2, all of them were in one party or the other before moving around, and that is not how it should be. Okay, parties should be known for their ideology, for their ideas, for what they stand for. Okay, go to Israel, go to the US is too big for us to be talking about. But then the US, the Democratic Party and the Republican, you know that they have their style.
Their own ideology.
This is what they are known for. In fact, as a child is being raised, the child is already knowing that, okay, this is the way I'm a conservative. This is my lifestyle. This is the kind of party I want to be associated with. But unfortunately for Nigeria, our parties are just out there to go and win an election and then make their money. More like business.
But I actually feel that when Peter Obi joined the LP, it was like a different kind of party from what Nigerians were used to. We saw that as a different kind of party. I don't know, it was kind of a mentality kind of thing that this is a different kind of party. We know the other ones are corrupt, and this one is like a pure one, it was like a new child coming into Nigerians' democracy. Since our journey, it was like a new child. So personally, I don't actually feel like the merge is going to be a good thing. I don't feel that, because I feel, as you earlier cited, that every party should be known for a particular ideology. We don't want to see PDP in LP. We don't want to see NNPP in PDP.
But then, if you check, some parties also did well because of their candidates.
Okay.
So yes, there should be some limitations for parties, but also we should also have a limitation to say, okay, this candidate is even the person that we are going to vote for, because that's how the Nigerian politics is turning into. Not even based on the parties, it's based on the particular candidate. Look at what happened in the last election in Kogi State. You find out that I can't remember his name, but then Dino Melaye, that I thought was going to fight head on with the APC, Dino Melaye of the PDP, that I thought was going to fight head on. The result came out, and when I saw his result, I was so shocked. The result where the
SDP candidate.
The SDP candidate scored ×4 of Dino Melaye. Oh my God, it was just so shocking.
You had so much expectations.
Yeah, I was thinking that he may be a worst case scenario. I wasn't seeing him as someone that would win.
Did you feel he would be successful because of the PDP at his back?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I was like, oh, come on. But then you find out that, yes, the election had its own issues. So you cannot shy away from that to vote buying or called in another level. Okay? We also saw where ballot boxes were being snatched, all those, yes. But then even with the numbers, even with, one might say a particular party or the ruling party, bought votes and all that. But then from 400,000, you had somebody like Dino Melaye scoring about 20-something thousand votes. Oh man, it was just for me a disappointing one. But why am I also raising that point? Because you find out that the SDP guy, yes, the SDP, not the PDP, not even the Labour Party, coming out to do good numbers. Are you getting me? It also shows that we should, as a people, as a nation, or even our political scholars, should be able to let the people know that, okay, it isn't just about the party. It should also be about the candidate itself. But then, you cannot also, from the Nigerian Constitution, cannot also take away the importance of the party. More so, what about the sponsorship? Sponsoring a candidate. Okay? More so, what then also happened when the person wins the election? That is where also I see the cankerworm nature of the party, the parasitic nature of a party. Because the party will start demanding from the candidate that won the election. I say, oh, see, we have the instances whereby the party will tell you, you must give us 10% of whatever you are getting there, because we need to run the party. So these are the issues. How can we deliver ourselves from that?
Do you think this multi-party system is working in Nigeria?
It's working, but it's not working.
Okay.
I'll answer it from the two levels. So for the level whereby you see some parties are just rigmaroling, unfortunately for them, they couldn't win any position. They couldn't even put out a fight. What am I suggesting? They should be closed down. There should be more like a capitalization, which is happening though, but then maybe the bars should be raised higher so that if you cannot meet up, you should just close shop and let the people that are out there to do the main thing about electioneering take the space.
All right. Unfortunately, that's where we'll draw our curtains for today. It was really a great time on the newspaper review on TAP TV. I still remain your host, Sophia John, and I didn't do this alone. I did this with Mr. Victor Sioku. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you.
You too can be a part of the show. Connect and engage with us on all our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and of course we're on Twitter, now known as X. Do well to connect and engage with us. Till we meet again tomorrow, stay safe.